Have y'all ever heard the term, you gotta win? You gotta win. You gotta have the right mindset to win. Have y'all ever heard the term, you gotta win? You gotta win. You gotta have the right mindset to win. Win is a mindset. Excuse me. I'm reminded of a video where, and I believe I mentioned this in one of my other videos before, is that a very famous NBA basketball player back in the 90s got in trouble. And there's been a lot of memes ever since then about the concept, about what he had said. He was a star player on the Philadelphia 76ers. And he came in with his own style. But as far as how he dressed and all of that, how he presented himself, man from the streets. However, he was a superstar, or a rising superstar in the NBA. And so one day at a press conference, I think it was before a game, like the day before the game or something to that effect, he was asked about practice. I forget exactly how it goes. I know I was going to go there, so I'm just kind of going off of memory here. And it's been quite a while since I've seen it. But anyway, and there were some issues about why he doesn't practice with the team. Didn't practice a lot with the team or anything like that. And so he says, practice. Practice? We talking about practice. Practice, man. And many of you probably know who I'm referring to. His name is Allen Iverson. And with all the great skills and talents that he had at the time, that I think is the most memorable line of his career. And it also altered the trajectory of his career. Now, today we're going to be talking about having a mindset, or having a winning mindset, but not just a winning mindset, but to practice as well. So the title of this video is Winning, not just a mindset, a practice. See, Allen Iverson maybe had a lot of personal victories in that regard. Had skill sets. He was leading his team and scoring, and he's doing very well for himself. He was playing against Michael Jordan in Michael Jordan's latter years, and they actually could have went to the NBA Finals, I believe, that year, if not win it as well. But his lack of leadership cost him. He may have had a personal winning mentality, but when he was asked that question, his coaching staff was looking for him to also be a leader, not just have a winning mindset that he's going to get his type of mindset, but at the very least, sacrifice for your team. Be their practice. Lead your team. Get to know them. Y'all play together so that they will know, they can pick the spot, know what spots they're going to be in. You can know what spots you're going to be in, and vice versa. A team concept. And they was asking him basically to be the leader. That's my understanding of it, okay? That's what I extrapolate from that moment in time, that it really changed the path that his future was headed on. Practice is a very important principle. It's something I, myself, when I look at my life, where I actually failed at. I wanted to be ready-made, kind of like I don't need to be cooked. I have the ingredients to win, so I'm just going to pop out the oven, so to speak, and I'm ready to go. That was the wrong mindset. Where did I get that from? Nobody gave it to me. I'm going to say it like this. I know I'm wrong. I was wrong about it, but I want to be like God. God don't need any practice for anything. Because God is God. God is perfect. If anybody who thinks of God, God is perfect. And even if you don't, it's still the truth. But God is perfect. God don't have to practice anything. He don't have to get prepared for anything per se. God is God. So since he knows everything ahead of time, God himself, as far as his beingness, perfect. You can't shock God or surprise God. You can't outthink God. You can't outplan God. You can't outmuscle God. None of that stuff. God is always right, never wrong. I didn't like being wrong because I made a lot of mistakes in my life, especially growing up. Bonehead decisions, okay? I call them bonehead decisions. And, even now, I still make some mistakes. The goal is to minimize those mistakes and learn from them, right? But I didn't practice winning. So I set myself on a bad trajectory because I didn't I would get a lot of sound counsel, sound wisdom, sound advice, and I didn't follow it. I didn't practice it consistently. There are times I would, but when you look at your life and you recount all those times that you were told some of the same things over and over and over. I love watching videos. I love reading books and listening to people saying the things that I wanted to hear. But I believe I had the mindset of a winner, but I didn't develop the habits of a winner. And that's what I'm working on. Even to this day, I am working on this. This is going to be a lifelong, I don't want to call it experiment, but a lifelong practice for me. And so I hope what you gain from this is the value of every tool necessary that I'm trying to say, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. I hope you take from this video that the necessity of making sure you have all the tools necessary to help you succeed in whatever endeavor you are engaged in. And I'm talking about good stuff. Make sure you have all the tools, number one. Some of the things you might get along the way. Make sure you have all the tools, but that's the first part. First, you got to know where you want to go and what you want to do. Secondly, what does it take to get from point A to point B or A to Z? And then once you acquire those particular skills you may need for that moment, up to that moment, use them and use them wisely, and act on it. So in short, use all the tools that's in the toolbox that's necessary for whatever that goal of yours is, that objective, that vision you have. And so the practice of a winning lifestyle, the practice of a winning habit, the practice of a winning mindset is probably just as important as having the winning mindset. Okay. So that's what I hope you take away from it. So listen, everybody says winning starts in the mind. That's true. But if it stays in your mind, you'll never win. Winning is not just a mindset. It's a practice. Let me read that again. Everybody says winning starts in the mind. That's true. But if it stays put right there and it does not go from here to out here, you'll never win. Because winning is not just a mindset. It's a practice. If you want to be good, if you want to pass a certain test, if you want to be good at some level of sports, if you want to be good in business, want to be good in relationships, want to be good in some type of career, your question, once you discover what it is you want to do, what level you want to get to in that thing, now the question is how do I plan my strategy? And then commit to practicing, following the steps that's going to lead to that success, to that particular outcome. If you don't do that, then you will fail before you started. And that's what a lot of us have done to ourselves. You can blame your upbringing. You can blame your parents. You can blame your guardians. You can blame your family members. You can blame God. You can blame everybody else. But if you do not take responsibility, some level of accountability, once you get to the age where you can think for yourself, you understand right from wrong. If you don't take responsibility for who you're going to become, what you are going to do and accomplish, what you want to achieve, you will always be a victim. And that doesn't matter what color skin you have. Yes, is it harder for those out there who will listen to this and say, well, little black people have it harder than so and so and so. I won't disagree. I disagree in one leaving themselves in the state of victimhood. Because all of us, at one way or another, we can really choose to be victims. It doesn't matter what it is. You can choose, real or imagined, you can choose to be a victim. You can choose not to be. So we have to take, if we want to grow, want to move from where we are, we have to, our option, I ain't gonna say what you have to do because you don't have to. But we can choose, we have the option of choosing to take responsibility that I may have grown up this way. And the statistics may show people who came out of this type of situation turns out to be much worse. But you can decide not to be a part of that statistic. You can change that outcome for your family, for your life, and for your family, if you so choose. So understand, winning starts in the mind, but it should not stay there. Secondly, why is the mindset not enough? Let's talk about that. Mindset gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. That's been one of the biggest things I've struggled with in my life is self-discipline in the areas that I want to have great success in, and I have not had it simply because I was undisciplined. I had the energy, I was ready to rock and I was ready to roll. I saw the image clear in my mind, what I want to be, what I want to do, and what I have. And then as I get going, and then I face resistance that I did not want. Sometimes I didn't even see, but I certainly didn't want it. When the feelings left, so did my focus. So did my intention. So did my self-discipline. Today can be the day you decide I'm changing everything. Matter of fact, you might even still can keep those exact same goals or objectives and plans, that same vision that you have right now. And today you can decide, I'm going to be self-disciplined from here going forth. And if I make any mistakes along the way, or as I make mistakes going along the way, I'm going to wipe the dust off me and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pursuing. You can decide to be self-disciplined. And then when the next challenge comes, the very next challenge to your goals, to your vision, when it hits, you can step up to it and say, oh no, I got this. Or you can will to and break. I encourage you, face it head on. Now, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, so I'm not going to face this alone. But I must make the decision, because he ain't going to make it for me. He already knows what he wants for me. I know he wants nothing but good for me. He wants nothing good but good for you. But we have our parts to play. So he ain't going to make me be disciplined. I have to decide that. He's not going to make me succeed. He's not going to make me develop those habits. I must decide to do that, and he'll help me along the way. So let me encourage you in that. Mindset gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. So discipline is the fuel. Let's say your mindset is the vehicle. Now, or part of the mechanics of your vehicle. Let discipline be your fuel. Most people believe like winners, but behave like quitters. Think about this. Most people believe like winners, but behave like quitters. Why is that? Are you not sold out? Are you not all in that vision or that goal? Decide today. Decide now. The best time to make certain decisions is now. I didn't say you're going to feel it. I didn't say wait for a feeling. I didn't say go and ask 20 other people what they think about what you should be doing. At this moment, make a decision. Change is going to happen regardless. Make that decision. Stop winning in your mind and not winning in your behavior. Because people are watching. You say, I don't care. Well, it matters. Because there are times when what you know doesn't matter, but those who you know and those whom you don't know who you are. That matters. So it's not always what you know, it's who you know. Or in some cases, who knows you or know of you. So change your mindset. If the way you've been going hasn't been working, or it hasn't been working successfully, if you want change, it's entirely up to you. Most people believe like winners but behave like quitters. Belief must be mature, or belief must mature into behavior. So what you say you believe should be visible by what you do. People hear what you believe, but they're watching to see if you actually do believe it. Your beliefs should tail off on you more by what you do, or non-verbally, than what you say. Now, if they balance each other out, that's great. But again, men out there telling their wives or telling their girlfriends, if you love me, or baby, I love you. So you're absent. You may be providing a roof over your wife's head, over your children's head, food in the refrigerator, a vehicle for them to drive that stays gas up, but your presence is absent. You are absent. There's a loss there, and there's a disconnect. That's a part of the relationship, but that it does not comprise the relationship. Or vice versa. She's always working or out with the girls. We got to balance those things. Okay? So, belief should mature into behavior. If you love someone, it should be shown or demonstrated more than verbalized. See, your mindset is the instruction, and your practice is the obedience. That's that's FTRIA. My name of my system or my coaching program that I'm working on is called FTRIA, which is short for FTRIA, which is short for, or an acronym for, follow the right instructions always. You know, my pastor was actually teaching on some of this today. Matter of fact, he was talking, and several times he said this: the instructions you follow determines the success you'll have. I think exactly how he said that part. I have to write it down. But the instructions you follow determines your results, or determines the success you have. So who have you been listening to? You know, on one of my other videos, I forget if it's the first or second video, but I was talking in there that all of us have been very successful. All of us have been successful. Now, what we've been successful in is the question. But every man, every woman, every boy, every girl has been successful. But in what is the question? You can go check out that other video. Maybe I'll do another one another time on that. But what am I saying? You have been either successful at success or successful at failure. But you've been successful. So don't stop succeeding. Change what you've been successful at. That's it. If you've been succeeding failure. But if you've been successful and succeeded in other areas, look at other areas in your life and say, what have I not been as good and productive and accomplished in? Or how can I build on this level of success for those who say, man, everything is running smooth? Well, if you're still alive, you have not finished yet. So what else? What's that next level? What's that next thing? Keep it going. But for those of you who've been successful failing, don't stop succeeding. Stop succeeding at failure. Start succeeding at whatever level of success you're supposed to. And that's going to depend on what those goals are. Now, let's go move on to the third thing. Practicing like a winner. Let's start with this. Here's the first step. There are 3 core winning practices. Okay? 3 core winning practices. The first one is preparation. Winners win before the game starts. In sports, they definitely work this plan. They definitely work this system. And I think if we would translate that type of system, or develop that type of system for our personal lives, because I'm going to work on doing some of that too. I know they work. Even if I don't work these principles, I know they work. Okay? Even if I weren't, let me say it that way. Even if I won't work in those systems, I know they work. Proof's in the pudding, right? In terms of how people do stuff, okay? So, preparation. Winners win before the game starts. My dad always says this: what you see in mind, you'll see in time. So if you see failure in mind, eventually you're going to see failure in time. If you see winning in mind, you're going to see winning in time. So how do you prepare for your day? How do you prepare for that agenda, for that objective, that goal, that plan, that sporting event or that activity? How do you prepare? Do you prepare? Because if you don't, we need to change that. You may say, man, I've been doing good. Okay, why you settle for good and not great? I've been doing okay. Okay, so why you settling for okay? Winners win before the game. So they plan, they strategize, and they put themselves in position. They know what that kind of outcome they want. And so now they go backtrack, if you will, and they say, okay, what's going to get me to this? What's going to cause me to win the game? Or what's going to help me cause me to have the best performance of the game that hopefully leads to us winning the game? This, and that. So you got to game that out. Yes, that takes time. Yes, that takes patience. Yes, that takes time for us to think. Yes, that causes us to say, okay, well, we need to do this. We need to do that. Most of us have been taught, have been conditioned to want everything like that. And that's our problem. But again, I'll come back to that in another video. I don't want this video to be too much longer than it is, because I really want us to focus on not just having a winning mindset, but also having the habits of a winner, which is practicing. Secondly, consistency. That's the second core winning practice. Consistency. Boy, have I been told this for years. Champions don't wait for motivation. They operate by routine, or the word I've been hearing lately is a system. A routine is a system. So whether you feel like it or not, they gonna, whether a champion, a person, or again in sports, for example, whether they feel like it or not, or so somebody who's working, improving their health, whether they feel like it or not, they get up like clockwork. Once they set it in, they get up like clockwork and start exercising. They may not feel it at all. They may not be motivated to do it, but they have a system like a computer. They have a system. It just simply functions. It operates. They have committed themselves and disciplined, or are disciplining themselves to work this thing out and see it through. They have a goal. So they have a system. A routine is a system that they operate by. If you want to be a champion in your life, create a system. Maybe you already have one written down, but you wasn't committed to it. Let me get some water. Excuse me. So, number one, the first core winning practice is preparation. The second is consistency. You be consistent doing your part. Your job is not to make yourself successful. I got some more information on that. Maybe another time I'll talk about that on another video. But you don't make yourself successful. You will have success if you work in certain principles a certain way consistently over time. Whatever that time is, you'll have that. You'll be successful. Have y'all noticed I keep saying the word success? Why? Because I don't want you to focus on failure. Don't beat yourself down. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself down to the ground. Don't cuss yourself out. Encourage yourself and focus, because what you focus on, you attract. So focus on being successful. Focus on being successful. Focus on being successful. You get there. Correction. Winners. The third core winning practice is correction. Can you handle being corrected? I don't like it all the time. I'm gonna be straight up with y'all. I do not like it all the time, but I can handle it. Mostly. Sometimes I gotta go back and think about it and get over my feelings. But when the truth is the truth, then the truth is just simply the truth. And then I have two choices: to accept or reject it. If I accept it, that means I should make corrections in my life and make the necessary adjustments. But if I reject it, shame on me. So, winners review what didn't work, refine it, and do not repeat it or attempt. Or they focus on not repeating it. So I ain't gonna say you won't repeat it. Most people make the same mistake at least twice. That's a guesstimate. I don't have any statistics on that. But since I know people, since people are people, none of us are perfect yet, but many of us are being perfected. The average person will repeat the same mistake twice. Not every act or mistake. But many of us will repeat the same mistake at least twice. So the goal is to minimize that, especially depending on what it is. So be careful with that. Winning is the reward of disciplined repetition, not occasional inspiration. I have had those moments. Many of you can probably identify with that as well. So if you want to win over and over and over from the beginning, once you know what it is that you want, what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have, give it time. Control what you can control. You can control you. You can control how you feel. You can control what you do or don't do. That's entirely up to you. Once you are aware of what your role is and you accept it, that puts you on a path towards victory, towards winning, towards success. Now, following the right instruction for FTRIA, following the right instructions always means repetition until mastery. I'm ready to be a master. I always told myself that, for example, if I became, years ago, I said, if I ever went to the military, I probably want to be a SEAL, because I want to be the best of the best, or considered one of the best of the best. I want to be best, because that's the mentality I had. But I noticed over the years, I started losing that edge. Not intentionally, but I did. Because I want to be the best of the best of that I can be. I'm not in competition with you. You're not in competition with me, because I'm not you and you're not me. So how can I be in competition with you? I get it sports-wise and all that. But how can I be in terms of beingness? How can I be in competition with you when you are the only copy of you, and I'm the only copy of me? I'm only in competition with myself. So I should continually strive to becoming my best self on a day-to-day basis. You should do the same. You're not assigned to do what I am doing in my role, and vice versa. So once you know who you are, then you know you have no competition. But we must practice repetition of right actions, right activities, using right words, having the right mindset if we are to acquire mastery in any given thing. That's if you really want it. You know, some people say, how bad do you want it? Let me ask you this. How good do you want it? How good do you want it? Jesus practiced what he taught. He withdrew, he prayed, he planned, and acted with precision. Jesus is our best example. And I said this in my last video. I'm going to ask you this again. And this is not about throwing stones, so don't take it that way. It's a question. It's an observation. How come most of us do not really want, especially as Christians? I'm really talking to Christians on that. This is for everybody. But for those who actually who have stated that they do follow Christ, who have received Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, how come many of us do not really attempt to do the things he did? I'm talking about following in his step. I didn't say you ain't gonna sin, because just by being born under flesh, a fallen man, we're born sinners, right? But aside from that, how come many of us do not attempt to follow his success principles, his success formula, if you want to call it that, but his word, his will, and his ways? You know, back in the day, in the early 2000s, people used to say there was a bracelet that came out, it was a fad that came out, right? Where people say, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? WWJD is what it did. That was the acronyms that was given to it. What would Jesus do? WWJD. Then, of course, that fad phased out. And now we do now the cadence or the lifestyle choices today is this. Who done it? Well, I want. So people don't get what Jesus do. But anyway, I get it that we learn from each other, especially people who have failed and become successful in some of the things we want to be successful at, and they've had wonderful stories. I get that. Learn from that. But Jesus should be our top example to pursue if we want to please God. Because true success comes from the Creator's point of view, or is issued by the Creator. I know a lot of people still don't believe yet, but the Creator determines whether or not its creation is successful or not. The creation don't get to determine that unless it's in line with, or in alignment with, the Creator's purpose. So we should follow Jesus from that standpoint. And everything I'm saying, when I talk about God, when I talk about Jesus, keep this in mind. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with relationship. All right? Thank you. Now, I'm going to drop it one more time, then we move on. Jesus was the most successful human to ever live. He followed his goal, he followed his agenda, he followed his vision to perfection. You may not reach perfection, but you can at least reach completion of your assignment up until the day you die if you use the same principles that he used, which encompasses pretty much everything I said and more, but everything. And it's self-mastery. If you master yourself day in and day out, success is automatic. So keep that in mind. The disciples, we talk about his disciples, the disciples became world changers because they didn't just hear the teachings of Jesus, they practiced them daily. Stop just hearing a good sermon, a good motivational quote, or reading a good book. Stop it. If you have no intentions of following the information you're given, then you need to stop. Maybe reset. Because you're going to be held accountable for that information you acquire. So that's a personal challenge to yourself. So we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and really have a heart-to-heart with me, myself, and I, and make a decision that you're going to commit to. That from now on, I'm not just going to hear good words, good sermons, good teachings, good instructions, read good books, or hear more and more motivation and inspirations and all that stuff. I'm going to do something with that, something productive with that information. Why? Because this is what winners do. And I see myself as a winner. Do you see yourself as a winner? Before this video, did you see yourself as a winner? Yes or no? And depending on your answer, if you say no, I hope by the end of this video, you will. And if you see yourself as a winner, I hope this reinforces what you've decided, and maybe it answered any other questions you may have had as to why you're not where you want to be, or how to simply continue to apply the principles that you've already been using. Winning is a choice just like failure is. And again, I'm speaking in terms of personal accountability. When you get to the age of accountability, where you're able to make the choices, you do have a choice in the matter whether or not, and a decision to make whether you're successful or a failure. So the disciples became world changers. Why? Because they didn't just listen to Jesus. They didn't just watch him. They practiced what he did. So practice the success of your mentors. That's one of the things I see in my life I wish I had done a better job of. But guess what? I'm still here today, right? When's the best time to start? Now. Where I've been strong at, stay with it. And where I have been weak at, improve. Make the necessary adjustments and begin to improve. When? Now. So I want to issue you a challenge as we get ready to close here. That's the preacher in me coming out, okay? Now, you don't become a winner because you want to. And I believe all of us want to win at something. You become a winner because you train like one. So check your habits. What have I been doing? Check your behaviors. If I have a certain goal, I want to buy a new car. What have you been doing for that? I want to win. I want to run a marathon. What have you been doing to achieve that? I want to read this book and be finished in a week. What have you been doing to achieve that goal? See, it doesn't necessarily matter what the objective or the goal is. It matters whether or not you have decided to follow the steps to help you achieve that end. So you don't become a winner simply because you want to. You become a winner because you train or you behave like a winner. Stop calling it faith if it has no follow through. See, faith is actionable. The Bible says now faith is the substance of things hoped for. It is the evidence of things not seen. Now, the Bible also says faith without works is dead and works without faith is dead. So if you act without faith, your works is likely won't be as successful. And if you have faith without any action or follow through, then you're not going to be successful. They're a partnership or they have a relationship. They're in a relationship with each other. We need to stop. The majority of people need to stop acting in part or halfway and start putting the tools together and working them accordingly. That lock on a door won't turn without the right key. And that key has no purpose if it's not put in the right door lock. Right? Okay. So here's the challenge. Commit to one daily practice that improves your mindset. Again, commit to one daily habit that improves your mindset. Something that helps you grow. Something that's going to add value to you, not subtracted from you. Okay? You might change some of that music you listen to. You might need to start reading so many fantasy books. I'm not saying don't read any. I'm saying you might have to change some of that. Take a few steps. Listen to something that actually builds your spirit. That is like medicine to your soul. That'll get you going. That'll get you started. That revs up your engines. Causes you to focus. Lastly, if winning is your mindset, then prove it with your practice. Let your actions speak louder or as a compliment to the things you say. I've had people hold me accountable. I want to be perfect. Because then, anyway, I want to be perfect, but I'm not there. And I can't be perfect outside of God's help. I will be there one day. So I must submit myself to being perfected and do my part in that process, which means I need to practice the right habits so I can get the right results. And that's the encouraging part for you. If winning is your mindset, prove it with your practice or your behaviors. Because mindset without motion It's just mental entertainment. I have had that. So if you're tired of just getting mentally psyched up to do nothing with it, now would be a very good time for you to make some changes. Make a commitment that, hey, you know what? I'm going to discipline myself. Enough's enough. Your family, friends, co-workers, business associates or clients have probably told you, Darius, you talked a lot, but you haven't done a lot. When you going to do something? Somebody along the way probably did tell you that, right? I've had a few moments like that. I surely have. I've told myself that more than anybody else have told me that, but sometimes you can feel it. People hear what you say, but they pay more attention to what you do or have not done. So what you going to do about it? I pray this video makes a difference in your life. Maybe you say this is not for you, but you know somebody else this will be good for. Please share this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Drop a comment. Let me know if this has made a difference in your life, and if so, what has it done for you? Remember, maximize the moment. I'll see y'all on the next one.